Hey, shalom to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rechakodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone who teach the truth and rule well. This is the brother Yatab Yahweh coming back from the GMS SF Bay Area camp. And I got a quick lesson today. All right, Lord's will is edifying. This lesson just going into showing that, the Lord is in full control and, he's the one that decides who's in power. All right. And now when we go through the scriptures, we understand that yes, Esau has been given this power, but we're coming to the end of that. All right. And this is why it's a beautiful time to be alive. And we're witnessing the decadence, of this society, specifically here in America, which ultimately shows us that, everything that he has, all right, is coming to an end. All right. And ultimately because, he's set up just to show us what the wicked is. All right. When the wicked is in power, what happens? You have a society that's ultimately destroyed. You have a world that's being destroyed. The scriptures say if the Lord didn't speed up the times, no flesh shall be saved. All right. But, Esau, he's done his job. He knows, or he shows us what is true wickedness and what happens when you have somebody unprofitable ruling. All right, but let me start with this. This is Psalm 75 in verse 6. It says, "For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another." All right, so to understand this, what does this mean? Esau, you go into, his society, you go into all these great battles. You have these great wartime generals. You have these great so-called conquerors, or you go to Alexander the Creep. All right, you go to the Romans. Even fast forward to today. All right, you have the generals of America, all this, but ultimately, who gave them the power to be in the positions, and who gave them the power to win over their battles? Who gave them the power to set up a nation? All right, who gave them the power to be in control? Ultimately, going to the elites. Who gave them the ability to, get the resources, create a banking dynasty, and ultimately run the world? All right, that was the Lord. He did this. All right, and this is what Esau, he fails to realize, which he has that pride, all right, to think that he's done it all by himself. But really, the Lord is the one that set him up, and the Lord is going to be the same one who brings him down. All right, this is Daniel 4 and 17. It says, "This matters by the decree of the watchers, and the demand of the word by the holy ones. And the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men." So who is ultimately in charge? The Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right. It says, "And giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men." And this is what you have going on right now. He gives the kingdom to whoever he wants. All right. he gives it, and ultimately, what does it say? It says it set up the basis of men. So right now, you have the basis of the basis sort in control, which again shows you the power of the Lord. All right, from rags to riches, so to speak. Okay, you read up the history of Esau. All right, when he was braying and when he was, in that raggedy state. All right, when they called him a wood wose. All right, the Lord did a full 180 and put this man in control, which again shows you his power, but it also shows you that he's in full control of who rules down here. All right, it's not no any type of conniving, which they did do that. They connived. All right, they set up things on deceit, murder, all right, rape, robbery, but ultimately, who let them do it? The Lord. All right, because again, it's all to fulfill prophecy. All right, and show us ultimately that this what happens when the wicked rules. Job 9 and 24, that says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right, who is the wicked? Malachi, the first chapter. The borders of Esau. Everything that Esau establishes is the wicked. All right, evils multiply when he gets into power. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So literally, he has rulership right now. It says he covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Which what shows you a part of this man's deceit. All right, showing you that he covered over the true judges, which the true judges, being the Israelites, were what? Dark skinned people. All right. Hey, the main judge, Yahushai, what was he? A so called black man. All right, from the tribe of Judah. You could read his, literally going into his skin tone and his hair. All right, in Revelation, the first chapter. And what does it say? Brass as it burnt in a furnace. That's dark. But what did he do? He set up an image of a white pasty, all right, Edomite. All right, says Caesar Borgia. Okay, which again, how was he able to do that? Because he had the power to do this. All right, and why did he do it? Because there's power in knowing the truth. But this man is a deceiver. Okay, now let me jump over here. This is Wisdom Solomon chapter 6, verse 1. It says, "Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand, learn ye that be judges of the ends of the earth." And who's been given this judgment right now? Esau. It says, "Give ear, you that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations, for power is given you of the Lord." So you're supposed to remember these things. But again, what does it say in Psalms the 10th chapter? The Most High is not in any of this man's thoughts. He does not care. It says, "And sovereignty from the highest." Sovereignty comes from the Lord. All right, that's why this man isn't judged like others. All right, what does it say? He's not in troubles. He's not in trouble like others. Roughly paraphrasing, because he has that sovereignty. He's in control. But who was that given by? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. It says, "Sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels." Okay, best believe he's trying the works of Esau. And what's happening? He's wicked. He's being found out. He's being really, he's running up a tab. All right, a tab of wickedness. But it says, verse 4, "Because being ministers of his kingdom, you have not judged aright, nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of the Most High." He hasn't done any of these things. All right. He is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. So what does that mean? He's adverse. He sets up everything in deceit. He doesn't follow the law. Okay, but he's been given this ministership. All right, ministers of the kingdom, but he doesn't judge right. He has a whole different judgment system based on his laws according to what he thinks should be judged. All right, there's a reason why. All right, you have mo marriages. All right, because what? That's what he's into. That's okay to him. That's righteous to him. But that's not supposed to be. So he hasn't kept the law, it says, nor walked after the counsel of the Most High. He goes after the counsel of him, really of Satan. All right. But it says, "Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places." And ultimately, this man is going to be taken out of power because he's not right. All right. It says, "For mercy will soon pardon the meanest, but mighty men shall be mightily tormented." And this is ultimately what's going to happen to Esau. All right. His whole rulership is going to be taken out. All right. His cash cow, his little whore that he set up, America, is going to be fully destroyed. And the elite of his people, the ones who aren't killed, are going to go into hardcore slavery. And then after that, after they serve their time in the kingdom, they're going to be done away with. All right, but ultimately, you don't judge right. You're a base man. You're a base. You're low. Habakkuk the 2nd chapter. His soul is not upright. All right. This man is wicked. He's nasty. So what's going to happen? Ultimately, because he's that base sort has been given this kingdom, and he set up a kingdom in wickedness. I mean, look at what's going on here. All right, look at what is okay, what's okay to do. All right, look at Esau, especially their top tribe, Amalek, just getting more and more covetous of everything they got, not helping out any, actually making it worse for people. All right, accusing the Israelites, the real Israelites. All right. No brotherly love, no repentance. Okay. So what do you think the Lord is going to do with a man like that? And see, this is why our people and, these so-called Christians are all bugged out, because they want Esau to be saved, having no understanding of the scriptures of who the so-called white man is. They're Edomites. All right. Hey, you have a lot of these Christians. They just had that I forgot what they call it, but basically a whole bunch of these pastors went over there to the small hat, to that land of Israel, to go visit those small hats and basically have a convention on combating the anti-Sems. All right, but those aren't the people; those are literally the wicked. But again, it shows you, Christians in general and specifically our people, they have no idea. They want to save everybody, but they don't know what's going on. The Lord has literally set up a wicked man to be seen and to be exposed. The scriptures say what? The man of sin be revealed in this time. He's literally being revealed, but you have our people bugging out wanting to save him. It makes no sense, but it shows you that our people have no idea what's going on. All right. Well, let me jump over here. This is Sirach 10 and the 10th chapter, verse 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. All right. And this is a wise judge. This is a prudent man. All right. He's going to have a government that's well ordered. And ultimately, how do you get the most well ordered government ever? Through scriptures. All right. It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So if the ruler is wicked, all right, if the ruler is a thief, a murderer, a rapist, a pedophile, a mo, what are the people going to be like? What are his officers going to be like? If that's okay, for the kings to do, what do you think his officers are going to do? What do you think the people are going to do? All right, it trickles on down. And really it pollutes everything. Verse 3, it says, an unwise king destroyeth his people. It says, but through the prudence of them that are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. And again, this is that unwise king. He's destroying the people. All right. Proverbs, the 29th chapter. Okay. Well, actually, let me get that real quick and jump back. Proverbs 29 and 2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. All right, so this man is literally destroying everything. All right, literally making a place where people are mourning. You have people in sedition as we speak. All right, you got these no kings protests going on. All right, but again, this man is literally killing the people, literally making complete hell for the people. All right, but hey, that's this unwise king. Okay. The scriptures say that, hey, this place is languishing. All right. This man is literally killing the earth. So that's why he has to be taken out. All right. His job is it's over. It's done. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much all right. Let me jump over here. Luke 12 and 32. Now again, well, let me get this first and then I'll jump over there. All right. Well, actually, yep. Salak, verse 4. All right. Back in Sirach 10 and verse 4, it says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set up over it one that is profitable. And this is the point. All right. Esau is unprofitable. Okay. He's destroying the people. He's destroying the earth. So what is the Lord going to do? He's going to set up Jake. All right. He's going to set up Jake to rule. This is who's next. And how do we know it's Jake? Okay. Hey, you read the scriptures, you read prophecy. All right. What do you go into? Daniel's the second chapter. What? It had the kingdoms laid out. All right. That vision of the statue. And what was the last kingdom to rule? All right. The kingdom of Yasharallah, when Yahushua makes his return. Okay. Second Ezra 6 and 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So through prophecy, Esau having to be this wicked, being the ruler right now, we know this is the end of this age. Who's next? Yaquab, all right, Jacob, Yasharallah, okay, Yahushai, and the elect, okay, and ultimately the whole nation of Israel coming back to rule. All right, and that kingdom is not going to be taken out because of what? The new covenant, all right, the new bodies, having the word downloaded into our inner parts, all right, to never be able to go off. Because if we never go off, we can never be a part of the unwise king. All right. So there's no one that's going to be set up after, because we're always going to be profitable. All right. And this is what I wanted to add off on. Luke 12:32, it says, "Fear not, little flock." Okay. It says, "For it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." All right. So it's the Lord's pleasure to give the kingdom to the nation of Israel. All right. Starting with Yahushua and the elect. And why is that? Because again, when you have the wicked, Esau ruling right now, he's destroying everything. All right, he's making everything nasty. That's why there has to be a great cleansing agent to clean the whole earth. You have to have that fire to clean. All right, but again, the Lord is going to set up the nation of Israel, and it's his pleasure to do so. All right, this is ultimately who he wants to rule forever. And he showed us, with all these different kingdoms, all these different heathen nations ruling, that it wasn't it. All right, it wasn't it. You had idolatry being pushed. All right, you had nasty. I mean, all the way to fast forward to today, you have nastiness being pushed. All right, the earth is at the worst state that it's ever been. Okay, you have literally things that are being pushed as food that aren't even edible. All right, you have air that's polluted, you have the clothes polluted, everything. All right, everything is polluted. And again, like the scriptures say, if the Lord didn't speed up the times and have prophecy being fulfilled, and ultimately the elect set up, no flesh would be saved because of how bad this man's rulership is. All right, but again, just a little comfort in knowing that this man can't rule forever. The scriptures say he has bounds that he cannot pass, and the Lord said that this man is unprofitable. All right, so we have comfort in knowing that it's the Lord's pleasure to give the kingdom to the elect. All right, to Yahushai, ultimately the whole nation of Israel, and we just got to hang on. All right. But yeah, Lord's will, this is edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, and a ball.